You have honey from bees, as long as it's there in the beehive. It has a special taste. It's taken away, it changes the taste. Chulav, milk. Where it was created, the milk was created, it stays fresh. When you take it away from there, it loses its taste. The Nushim Tzidkunius, they were involved in building the Mishkan, knew that and gave a message for all of Klal Yisrael and every Yiddish home that you are involved in building a Mishkan Ma'at, a Mukan Kudosh, a Mukan to raise children, Al Taharis HaKodesh, and you want that the children should have a taste that every father and mother is Mevakish. It should stay with the altar taste. It should be connected to Mukan Gedilam. The more it's connected to Mukan Gedilam, Noisefes, it has a special shine, and it stays fresh, and it stays original. The Nushan Tzidkunius in that generation made a cheshbon for all of Klal Yisrael until our generation here in Toronto. Mrs Rubner was Zoiche. She grew up in a shtetl, Vadovitz, the same city, Ibudel, Kalman, Zechoyner Vuche. Originally she was from Mishlenitz, a little town next to that, and she did not leave go of that original shine. She kept it on. It wasn't easy. She went through the ganze Milchume. She was in forced labor camps for many years, from 1942 to 1945. And with all that, she was able to keep her original shine, to rebuild, and to see kinderlich and einiglich and ihr-einiglich, lechtige, teire, heilige Ingelat, Yerayim, the Wieken, the Teure. It's appropriate to be ma'oira schis v'klal Yisrael. We need yeshiyas. There's a turmoil in the world where one does not know what the next minute is going to be. We have one thing. Zman kehilu lakoil. We need not together. The hearts is in it together. Yidden are able to connect. It's very easily said, Zman kehilu lakoil. But we all know through generations, Yidden had nisyonis on that fact. Called the Balduva knows what it means when Klal Yisrael is together. He knows what it means, ki ish eichot belev eichot. The Balduva, the Yitzhahara, weist, was man can aufziehen. When a person makes a decision in life, that nothing else is worth. There is nothing in the world that is worth as much as the Kish Eichot Belev Eichot. In the time of the Ness of Mordechai Esther, we all know the Pusik. Yesh nam Eichot mefizor mefeuret bei Noamim. Od der Rusche yemach shemoi gesucht. Hummer, Rusche. What he could see on Yidden, Yidden are heilige Yidden, lechtige Yidden, Yidden davenen and lernen, and mitzvahs amasim toivim, mit chesudem. He couldn't find something else, but one thing he found. Yeshna am echot mefizor and mefoirat. What does it mean mefizor and what does it mean mefoirat? Mefizor means when you can't sit in the same room. You're spread out. But then there's such a thing that you could sit in the same room. But it's mefoirat. It means pirt. Pirt means pirat halavuvas. Something that each and every one of us could make a cheshbon hanefesh. It touches us. It touches our children. It touches Klal Yisrael. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave this chis for the heilige Mamme, Mrs Rubner, Uleyu Ashulam, Etlu Perul Basel Yui, that she was able to gather such a Shaina Zisa Oilam together on Yid Gimel Zaman Kehilu Lakoil. We know Yid Gimel is the Yid Gimel Midah Shel Rachmem. And of them zog the Heilige is the Chevra, das ist der Pshat Yid Gimel Midah Shel Toiv and the Dreishes Bohem. Yid Gimel is the Midah von Ahava. Ahava is the Gematria Yid Gimel. She was zoiche to bring us all together. An imam and be'aminu shalayim. That the imam is not going to rest ba'oilam or elyon. She's going to continue to be mo'ila rachmem, to bring together the Yid Gimel Midos. You'd bring together the midah of Ahava, the Ach, with a bittul. And this is going to bring a yeshia for each and every one of us and a yeshia for all of Klal Yisrael. She was zoiche to us an entire kinder, Rav Moshe and his wife, and the kinderlich and the einiglich. She was zoiche to us one and only daughter, Abbas Yechide, Mrs. Bistricer. Also mit lechtige Kinder, mit Einiglich. Yossi. A Mama hat gebeten das ganze Leben von dem. I came in, this was the only thing she managed, I think, in the hardest times and more difficult times. Meine Kinder, Va'adaye va'toisef Esther va'tedabai lefnai ha'melech. And now she's going up the Mukim Sherusha. The Neshuma geht zurück auf the Mukim, wie sie wann zu kommen, Taches Kissa Yakuvot, Ma'ala Kissa Yakuvot. And there she must closer and she is able to be Moile Rachman. For all the yeshiyas that the whole family needs, and for all the yeshiyas that Klal Yisrael needs. Lazana geht zu beten, man soll solche sein, die Teig sollen bringen Rachman, und Chesudem, für ganz Klal Yisrael, man soll solche sein, die Teig, mit solche sein, mit Galle zu sein. Gili Kvoit Malchus Shemayim, auf ganz, die ganze Welt. Es kein werden, ich will amuvas lenetzach, Yemuch Hashem Gimel, Al Kol Pum.
She's the Shekoyle Shlita. Zusammenkommen du. Es geben die letzte Covid. Weil ich Gscheire, ich Chashiva, ich Chayil. Ich Chayil von der geliebte Kalman Zechrein Levrocha. Et Lepeo Bas, Leo Zechrein Levrocha. Taanis Esther. Etel is really a nickname for Esther. Etel, to Gittin, is a nickname for Esther. Esther Amalka. And the time when they stopped giving names, they stopped giving names from Navi, and they started giving Yiddish names, the time when there was a plague, when many women passed away. There was the Zeri, the May said they should only give Yiddish names. That's where all the Yiddish names came from. And Etel is really Esther. And Esther Amalka. If there's anyone who you could use this phrase on Mrs Rubner, Mamish Amalka, a queen in her whole Metzias, her whole actions, the way she spoke, the way she walked. She was Esther Amalka. She was Esther, a queen in every way. Esther, she went through a time of Hester Panim, just like the whole Megillas Esther, a time, the Hester Panim of our generation, the Makim Hester, the Hester, a time where we can't even imagine. We hear from our parents, we heard what it was, where they dehumanized every Yid. And they're able to come out from these ashes and build, just like it says, the reason why Noshim are mechuyev, because Noshim tzkanios, b'schus Noshim tzkanios, negalu, and Toys is not only b'schus, they were the Iker, like you find Esther, was the Iker who brought about the whole Geula. These women who after a Mechama, after losing everything you had, your whole shirish, your city, you're losing your family, you're losing your chassidus, you're losing everything you had, and were able to get out from that and become and still be the Esther Amalka and be able to be mechanech together with her husband, a beautiful, beautiful mishpacha in her whole life. It was always, I remember how many times she called me about her davening. Whenever you go into her to saying Tillim davening, this was her whole Metzias. There's a famous song that Bobov, the first of Shlomo, said over. It's a song from Aaron Kalina. The Mamat Megaheisen Ras and Niselach. The boyn is azoy hoyach, in the kinders and azoy klein. That you tell your children, the mama heist, I want you to remember from where you come from. Remember where you come from. Remember the niselach that we have. And the kindle is an zayah klein. Baruch Hashem, she was zoicha to take those niselach and give it to her children. Baruch Hashem, she was zoicha to give over those nislach, Baruch Hashem, to every one of the children, the two sons and the daughter and the Aydam and the daughter-in-law and the whole mishpacha, the kinder. Baruch Hashem, they were able to grab those nisalach. They were able to, Ginas Egois, the story was, the Shem Shloime, the Minkacher went with his son, the Dakachiva and Mechzaluzer, and they came to an Egois tree, and the Shem Shloime said, Chagaheder Ba'an Kalini od Gehata B'sanigin of them. So little Mechzaluzer said, Chagaheder from Bobov Veruf, Zachayin of Chagaheder Nigin. The Klal Yisrael is Nimshal Egois. Egois has a protection on it. And Egois inside is so pure, clean. Nowadays we know how you have to be careful with the cleanliness, the inside. And Klal Yisrael, the home of Reb Kalman and his wife was inside of Egois, pure, clean, pure for the Rebbeinu Shloim, clean for the Rebbeinu Shloim, everything for the Rebbeinu Shloim. The nest of Purim is the nest that we see our generation. We who are children from the Sheris HaPleita, who were raised by our parents. It's unbelievable how they were able to get out of all the atzvus, all the darkness, and able to raise us with a full emunah and besimcha to do avodas Hashem. And this was her always the biggest simcha she had. Kamen gait lehnen, kamen kenach gein davenen. That was her biggest simcha that she always had. Seeing her, and you see them go together. Eishes chayil miyim tzavrochem yipninim michra. Pninim is a peril. A peril. Etel peril. Farshim say v'rochem yipninim michra. Peril is something the Rebbeinu Shalom is pure. It's not made, handmade. It's not refined. You have to find it in the shell. You find it from the Rebbeinu Shalom gives you this pearl. You find the pearl is something that the Rebbeinu Shalom gives you, the pearl that was created by the Rebbeinu Shalom. She was a pearl in every way, the way she took care and caring and helping and doing for others and caring, and how much it hurt her. Every time, once she called me up, wie lang wird man aushalten, was hat Titzach in Eretz Yisrael? The Tzuris was Titzach in Eretz Yisrael. She couldn't live when the other person was in pain. Couldn't live when the other person is in pain. We're going through now the coronavirus. Corona is corona, down to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Corona, and the virus is Amadam Nashmi Medav. Coronavirus. The corona, the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to, and the day of Taanis Esther, a day that Yom Tefillah for the Rebbeinu Shalom, and this is our Esther Amalka, bringing us together to daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Everybody here is sitting down, Abyssal Azifza for Klal Yisrael. People called me up today to be Mevatel. One Rav called me, should be Mevatel his Purim Suda for the Besmedrash. In other places, they were Mevatel Sudas. They were Mevatel Sudas. And the first thing, Taanis Esther Mezizah, Taanis Esther Sefer Torah, the first thing, the Heilige Sachen, the erste Sachen, was man rief tun. How to call it, Taanis geben a hand for jenem. The first thing, and da wir stehen in der richtige Weg, da wir stehen wissen, aber it's a day that we have to know Corona, we darf daven zum Rebbeinu Shalom. We darf daven zum Rebbeinu, and her tefillah was full of her tears. Her tefillah, and any time, my Rebbe used to tell me, whenever she went in, she was always sitting there with a tefillah. Always, that was her life. That was her life. There's a Mardi Gevart from Shamshon Asapoli on the Megillah. It says, when Esther Amalka came to Melech HaChashverosh, when she told Mordechai, you can't come Achas Dosoi, only you give the Sharbat. So it says, Petirah Esther, Chaim ve'einav, so Yoishet, Esther, HaSharbat HaZohav Asher B'yodoi. He gave the Sharbat that was in his hand, Vatikra of Esther, Vatigav. So fragt of Shamshon, zwei Kashas. Erstens, what does that say, Sharbat B'yodoi? The Sharbat that's in Zichot was in his hand. Why say B'yodoi? And second, the Gemara brings down that a ness happened with the Sharbat. The Gemara brings down that the Sharbat, the Rebbeinu didn't want Esther to walk too far. One man almost says it went 12 amas, 124 amas, 160 amas, 120 amas. So why did Vatikra? So Dr. Shamshon Savalia, when Esther came, so the Melech was Tisachin Einav, he went and turned around the Sharbat. The part that was the king always holds in his hand, he turned it around and gave it to her. You hold it. You hold my Sharbat. To show the full Ahava. She went. She could have taken that part. She said, no. You're the king. But Tikrav, she went all the way. She walked the 200 amas to touch the Melech where the Melech is touching. So the Svarim say, this shows what a Yiddish Ahoyz is. The kavod that Mrs Rubner gave to Reb Kalman, and the kavod Reb Kalman gave to Mrs Rubner. The kavod, I used to see them always, the love between them. Each one saying, you have my Sharbat. And each one saying, no, I want to come to you. You are the main thing. And this is this translates into the Mishpacha Baruch Hashem, in the whole Mishpacha. The biggest Ishak Shera, some Sofer says, how do you know what are the Eidim of Ishak Shera? How do you know if a woman is Ishak Shera? Says the children are the biggest Eidim. You look at the children. You look at every one of the children, Baruch Hashem. That's the Eidim to see if it's Ishak Shera. I mean, Yossi is so dedicated. I mean, his whole life was his mother. His whole life was his mother. The Baruch has his ways and cheshbonos. Yossi, this is gewesen sein Leben. I'm sure upstairs in Shemaim she's going to make sure that he should have able to have continue to live happy and weiter, and Moshe, and his wife and the whole family. I mean, the cover that Moshe gave his father and mother, every go to the end of the world for the parents. And the daughter Brenda, and together with her husband, I mean, the cover, every time I spoke to them, this comes only if you see the Sharbet B'yadai, you see how the father and mother respect each other and care for each other and do for each other. And it was a covet for me to be a shochem, toiv, shochem toiv, to see them, just see them how they live together, was an example for me what it means to have a mishkan abayis b'Hashem. So today it's so appropriate when we are together today on Taanis Esther, the Taanis we lost a Isha Ksheira, Isha, someone from the Alte Dor Yoshim, from the Alte Dor was at the Gezein, the Nislich V'Yenem Dor, and at the Rugebrek Nislich V'Zinze Dor. The Baruch Shem hoped that she should be Mrs Yosher for the Kinder, for the Einiglich, for the whole Kehillah that you cared so much about. She was so proud always of being part of this Kehillah of Bobov. She was just proud of this whole Kehillah, and together with Agudah, and together in what she always cared about. Eretz Yisrael should be Mrs Yosher now, standing here, that Klal Yisrael shouldn't have all the losses that are happening, the economical losses that are happening in the world. And she was someone who's always cared about it, how to be careful, and all the Chas V'Shalom, it shouldn't be touch any one of Klal Yisrael. Corona, we should daven to Rebbeinu Shloim. I'm sure she goes up to Shemayim, davening to Rebbeinu Shloim, davening to Rebbeinu Shloim. Help Klal Yisrael, help my children. And Ms. Chusa, we should be zoichet to see the Gula B'Meir B'Meinu. Amen.
Just the Rishkayel and the Rav. I don't have much to add over. I don't have much to add on what they said. I hope to be mechaber my grandmother with a short to the hospital. The pasuk of Gilus says, "Ein Esther megedes melata v'es ama kasher tziva ala Mordechai." Mordechai told her not to say who she was, where Esther came from, and she didn't say when she was in the house of Achashverosh. V'es Maimar Mordechai Esther Isa, and she did the Maimar Mordechai. Esther did the Maimar Mordechai. Esther did the Maimar Mordechai. She did the word. She did like the words of Mordechai. The same way it was when he lived in the house of Mordechai and he was raising her. The Targum explains what does it mean. She did the Maimar Mordechai. You already told me that she didn't say her where she came from. The Targum says it means something completely different. V'yos Maimar Mordechai havas Esther Avdus. She did the Maimar Mordechai. What does that mean? Shabaya Moedaya havas Nater. She kept Shabbos and Yom Tov. B'yom Rechuka havas Mizdara. She was careful during the Yemei Nidus. Tavshila v'chamer damamaya nuchroin loy havas Talmud. She didn't eat something that wasn't kosher. She didn't eat even bishul akum and yanesech, which are only drabanan. The chol is coming to Chayal b'neshaya. Everything that a lady was chayav to Bistricer that comes from Bistricer have an actress. She kept everything, all the mitzvahs deraisa. So the question is, you're trying to praise Esther. Why are you telling her you want to praise someone? You tell them they kept Shabbos, they kept Yom Tov, they kept kashrus. Why is that a praise for Esther? So one could say it doesn't mean to praise Esther. It means that even though she was doing all these things, one could have noticed that she was from the Yidden. Still, she somehow there was a nace and nobody realized. But the pasuk continues. Kasher ha'is b'manita. What do you want to tell? Why are you telling me that it was the same way that she was when she was raised in the house of Mordechai? So the Gemara Megillah is before that we're trying to give shvach for Esther. We're trying to praise her. So what's the praise for Esther that she kept Shabbos and Yom Tov? So that's the simple explanation is that someone is in a different situation, like the Rav already mentioned. Someone is in a different situation. She was in Beis Mordechai, now she's in Beis Hamelech. She still kept Shabbos, she still kept Yom Tov. That was considered a praise. And the pasuk continues, Kasher Haisa Bamani, the same way it was when she lived in Mordechai's house, or because she lived in Mordechai's house, that's why she was zeicher to continue on. My grandmother, Etel Perel Basrilio Becker, she was also in many different situations. She was born in 1922, the oldest of 5 children. At the age of 17, the war had already broken out. She lived in Vadovitz. She always used to describe Vadovitz as a town full of Hasidic Yidden. She said it's not like today. She used to talk very dearly about the older days. She talked about her brother who went to Radomsky Yeshiva. It was against the law in those days to learn yeshiva. She lived through the gezeiros that they sent the Jewish children to go to public school. At the beginning of the war, she fled to Russia. She came back from Russia only to get deported to a forced labor camp. She was Meister Nefesh in the camp. She once told me there were British soldiers there, and she kept away from the British soldiers. I asked her, why do you have to keep away from the British soldiers? She said, if the ladies who didn't keep away from the British soldiers, they had preferential treatment. And she together with other Nashim Sidkanias, they kept away, and they were starving, and they were on rations. In Kippur, she was Meister Nefesh. She put away food for Yom Kippur, on Yom Kippur. After the war, they got married in Poland. The communists came. They got sent to Eretz Yisrael. For a year and a half, they lived in Eretz Yisrael in terrible conditions. Finally, they were only able to get into Canada. So when you praise somebody that they were Ishak Sheira, what does it mean Ishak Sheira? She was Shabai Ladaya Havanatris, Yeruchuka Havanizdara, Tavshila Chanad Maya Nechron Havistama. She was keeping all the mitzvahs like a person's supposed to keep. But when you look at the person's whole life and all the situations that they were in and the change in situations, she was only one of the 5 children who survived. Her parents didn't survive. And then a person could say on Esther Etel that the same way it was in the pre-war. That's the way she was with the siddur, with the tillin. Any time you went in benching, there was never a time when we went in that she wasn't busy with unless she was resting. She was always busy with saying tillin and davening till then. Sometimes I went in when she wasn't well, and she didn't notice us because she was busy. She was busy benching, and she wouldn't look up until the end. When she stopped noticing her grandchildren, that's when she wasn't able to bench anymore. Until she didn't have any credit for anything. That's when I stopped seeing her. So she wasn't able to dive anymore. She should be a sheyichyu for the whole family. And we should be zeicher to be with Mamat Sanatzach, and Lach Hashem Din Lach.
On behalf of my sister, brother, sister-in-law, and myself, we'd like to thank and want to express our gratitude to the following: to Bigger Chalim, all the chasadim they perform for my mother, whether visits to the hospital, providing lifts to and from the Sunshine Club, which my mother enjoyed for many years. The women from Bobov and Agudah, who during the week, Shabbos and Yom Tov, would come over to talk and sing songs with my mother. My mother's devoted caregivers, Karen, Janetta, Karen Joy, Angie and Joylyn, who took care of my mother with compassion and sensitivity. To the grandchildren, for lending a hand whenever needed, visiting my mother, and of course bringing the great-grandchildren who would come to wish a good Shabbos and sing songs for her. Solo for all the times that they came. The hospital doctors and nurses cared for our mother over the last few years with dignity and compassion, especially hunger. And Dr. Ostro was always there for my mother and us, making house visits, who made himself available to us at all hours of the day, wherever he was, whether it be in Toronto or even on vacations.
I'd like to read a letter from my sheyichyu, daughter of Mrs Terrace. And I'd like to ask Mechila personally for myself and my mishpacha. My dearest mother, how I love you. You were a special person. You were the original superwoman. You worked beside Daddy and helped him in every way. How many nights you worked with him till the middle of the night to bring in shipments of goods, and you carried up 3 flights of stairs on Darcy Street, and afterwards, late at night, you'd start cooking so that your children would have a home-cooked meal when we come home from school. Even though you were all day in the business, we as children always had clean home, clean clothing, and delicious food. It was very, very hard, but you never complained. My mother was the oldest of 5 children. She was taken away to a labor camp, as we mentioned before, in Sudan, with 300 young girls, many of which also ended up here in Toronto. She left the part of Poland that she grew up and never saw anyone alive from her family again. She really rarely talked about that part of her life, just on the very rare occasion. She once told about the youngest child, a brother, who's around 4 or 5 years of age, a beautiful boy, blonde and blue-eyed with a big smile. He was lichtig. He would smile at the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, who were stationed across the street from where they lived. They had such compassion on the child, they would give him bread, which he would bring home and provide for his mother, grandmother, and siblings. One brother, Yitzchak Shmuel, did survive the war, but he unfortunately died in Paris before she could meet up with him. My mother went to work every day in a factory when we arrived in Toronto and put aside money to be able to bring him to kevurah in Israel and Harmanuchas, where he is buried today. My mother was a humble woman who did so many mitzvahs without any fanfare. When we lived on Darcy Street, she would sit and visit with a widow, Mrs. Starkman, almost every Shabbos, who had 2 severely disabled children. She'd bring her cake and kompot, as many of you here would know. And she came to visit her when she ended up in Bathurst. She would schlep to visit Rav Chalanger when she was in Bathurst, feed her pieces of chocolate because she always said she knew she liked it. Visit Mrs. Spitzer. Quietly, modestly, and humbly, she looked after the needs of others. When my father's nifter, I was afraid she would crumble, but she stayed strong. She had her davening, she had her tefillin. She enjoyed going to Bobov on Shabbos, as her family was also Bobov. She loved to see the young girls with the babies. She shut nachas from them. At this time, I'd like to thank the Bobov ladies that came to visit her every Shabbos and sang for her, Rebbetzin Lowy, who she so dearly loved, as well as Evelyn and Esther Levine. I also want to thank Janet, Joy, and Joylene, who took such loving care of her. Thank you to the Zanger clan who would come Friday night. Very special thank you to all. My nieces and nephews came again and again to visit her, brought their children and Einiglach. It brought a smile to her face, and gave her a very, 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 very happy feeling. Thank you. Mommy, I know there were times I didn't make you happy, and for that I'm very sorry. It was never my intention to bring you tsar, and there were times I didn't show you properly how much I love you. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you enough, and over this past year when I couldn't be there. I ask Mechila for all that and more. I also ask Mechila for Avram, who could not be here today. I will miss you and love you always. You are everything a child could have asked for. My heart is broken. Your daughter always, Brenda. I would like to just personally ask Mechila, say one very quick thing. When I got married to Razy, I met Mr. Rubner, the Commodore of Shalom, and he was the happiest, and many people know the happiest person you ever meet. Smiled and laughed and he joked, and he was full of life. And Bobby was the same way. A few months after we married, we came to Toronto. We stayed in 228 Carmichael. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning. I woke up my wife. I heard screaming, as if someone was being murdered. I woke up raising. I said, "What is that?" She says, "Oh, my grandfather. He screams from the Holocaust, from the nightmares." And he was a man who had gone through horrible, 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 unspeakable horror, together with Bobby. They never showed it. It was deep inside, but they never showed it. I asked Mechila for myself, my wife, my children, that we didn't do nearly what we should have. We should be Mechila, should be Meld Sheisher from Moshe and the whole Mishpacha, the children in Einiklach, and for Yossi, for my Shver and Shviger, Zogazuntzai, and for all my children in Einiklach. Thank you.
Al mulay rachamem, shoychay b'amraimem, hamatzay menichon echayenu, kachas kamfa yashchinu, v'malois kedoshim etoirem, kezoyaru kiyam azirem, es nishmas et u'peiru basra b'liui, שלחו לילומה, באביש, כל משפחתו, כל מסיבים כאן עוד נצטוקה בני בעל קורס נשמעו בסוף, וגנה הידם, תאי מנחוסה, לחיים בעל אורח מייסתרי בצהי סקן נופף, לאילומה, יצרוי בצרור החיים אס נשמוס ידוינוי נחלוסה וסניח בשולם עם לשכובה ונוי מהו מים. The Dominik is the Lusham Gang Charles Feld, Shiva Zahn, and Mrs Rubner and Steve, 228 Carmichael.